Joining us now to continue the conversation, Maron. She's a Democrat congressional candidate for New York's 10th district. Maud, great to have you here with us. You're a New Yorker through and through, live here in the city. What is your reaction when you see a story like that? Migrants staying at as we said, swanky hotel.
Indeed. You know, it's a continuation of a battle we've been fighting for a while, which is bad homeless policy. We've had the last mayor and the current mayor continuing to some extent this policy of using hotels in highly packed residential neighborhoods to solve a homeless problem. And it doesn't solve the problem, it makes it worse, and it brings in a lot of problems to our city. In addition to everything that Mike just mentioned there's also the fact that there's a lot of kids that are coming in with their parents and sometimes without their parents who are going to need to be in the school system. So this adds yet another level of confusion and problems with the school system that is going to have to absorb all of these students. So in addition to the extraordinary expense that we taxpayers are picking up, in addition to the public safety issues that people are worried about, it impacts us as New Yorkers in multiple ways that makes it hard for us.
Yeah.
Now, you are a Democrat, as we mentioned, and a lifelong Democrat at that. And of course, in New York, that wouldn't be so unusual. But we're seeing an extreme progressive, woke, liberal Democratic Party. When you see that party, what do you think? And how do you differentiate yourself from that?
Well, a rather famous American once said, "I didn't leave the Democratic Party left me." Yeah. I know a lot of Democrats who are feeling that way right now, right? Common sense Democrats who want smart policies on public safety, to have good schools for our kids to go to, where they teach appropriate subject matter, and where businesses are supported and not constantly harassed with COVID lockdowns or now monkeypox and one reason after the other to impose restrictions. There are a lot of common sense Democrats like me who want better policy out of our party, and our city is really run by the Democratic Party. One thing let me just say about immigrants, I'm married to an immigrant. Mm-hmm. My husband came here legally from South America. This city is made strong and beautiful by waves of immigrants in our city, but we have to do it right. And New York politicians and a lot of Democratic politicians have really turned a deaf ear to the southern states that have been dealing the most with the border problem. I'm running for Congress. This is a national issue. States like mine can't afford to keep ignoring Texas and Arizona and New Mexico and states that have really borne the brunt of this immigration. We need to be fair about the fact that to be a country means you have borders, and we have to build those borders because it's going to affect all of us, whether we're a border state or not.
Now, I know something that you have been concerned about is a mass exodus of New Yorkers from the city. Why is, you live here, you've noticed that. Mm-hmm. Is there any chance that people are going to start coming back? And why is that such a concern?
It's our tax base, it's our communities, it's our people who create businesses. I have 4 kids in the New York City public school system, and we've lost 100,000 kids. I mean, we're the largest school system in the whole country, but that's a staggering number. It's a larger number than most of the school systems in other major cities. So we're losing the funding that goes with that. We're going to have to close schools at a certain point because the COVID money that propped up some of the schools that have lost so many students is going to run out eventually.
Do you think Eric Adams and the Democrats being against police, that's been the wrong policy? Do you think we should return to, in New York, and I don't want to be New York centric, this applies in many parts of the country, the broken window policy that Giuliani came in with and put vandals behind bars to keep them from committing further and escalating. Those kinds of changes, do you think they need to be made?
So I am a public defender by training. I worked in the criminal courts for years. Mm-hmm. And some of what Giuliani instituted, they got wrong. Some of the stop and frisk program was overly broad, and innocent young kids walking down the street were stopped and harassed. There's a reason why broad criminal justice reform had so much support. But the pendulum swings both ways, and the bail reform laws that we've enacted that let people walk into a pharmacy and empty out a shelf and walk out and nobody stops them. That's the small kind of crime that leads to the bigger crime. We have a gun violence problem in this city right now. So yes, we do need to reevaluate and we need to bring back things that worked, but not all of the things because there were real problems and it's okay to say we need to moderate.
Maud Maron. Maron.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much. We appreciate talking with you. A very interesting conversation because this is going on a lot of places in the country.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Now,